Today I've got a Lemnis Gate video for you guys, and it's going to be focused on teaching you how to attack on Seek and Destroy. Okay, this is mainly for new players that I've seen struggling on the ladder with Seek and Destroy, but I think experienced players will also get something out of it. This is, to be clear, this is not going to be a list of instructions, do X, Y, and Z, and then you'll win every Seek and Destroy match. No, this is much more so I'm teaching a man to fish rather than giving a man a fish, if you know what I mean. And a couple of things before we get into it. The game has been out for less than 2 weeks. It's been out for exactly 12 days as of recording this video. So by no means is this video going to be like, this is the meta strategy, this is the only possible strategy that can win, or something like that. It's more so going to be trying to teach just some ideas, which as the meta evolves, the ideas should still be pertinent. They should still apply, even in the future once people find new spots on the maps and stuff like that. So if the game's been out for less than 2 weeks, why do I feel I know enough about Lemnis Gate to make this video? Well, I've got almost 100 hours of Lemnis Gate played. I've casted 3 tournaments. I've played over 100 online matches. I've won about 100 online matches. I'm currently in the ranked system. I'm gold rank 2 at the time of this recording. So, you know, I've got some experience in it. I'm by no means a master of the game yet. But I think compared to the new players that I've seen struggling and the people that have been coming in and I've been answering their questions on Twitch, I think this video will help them out a lot. This video is going to be focused on 1v1 turn-based, but principles will apply to all the different turn styles for Seek and Destroy. But it is going to be focused on Seek and Destroy specifically, and we're going to be looking at Caldera, okay? Just to keep the video a bit simpler, instead of looking at all 3 of the different Seek and Destroy maps, we'll be looking at Caldera on this one. But if you guys really like this video, and let me know, you know, down in the comments or whatever, if you end up liking it, and if you do, then maybe I'll make ones for the other 2 maps as well, because I have lots of ideas for the other maps. So the format of this video is going to be, the first part will be breaking down the big obstacles that we face when you are the attacker on Seek and Destroy. And then we're going to be going over the solutions. We're going to break down those obstacles, those problems, and we're going to come up with solutions for those things. Then I'm going to give you guys 10 tips and tricks about what you can do to improve your Seek and Destroy gameplay. And then finally, at the end of the video, I have a real-life example from me playing on the ranked ladder. I've got a half of a match, just the half where I'm attacking. I won't bother showing you the part where I'm defending, even though that was interesting as well. But I'll show you guys me attacking on Caldera, putting all these principles and strategies that I'm going to be sharing with you guys, putting them into practice so you can actually see what they look like. This is from a match I recorded on my live Twitch stream. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm streaming on Twitch now, so if you prefer live commentary rather than pre-recorded commentary, then by all means come and find me there. Links down below. But yeah, so at the end there'll be an example from me playing another gold ranked player. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so we will be taking a look at Caldera specifically for this video, but you know this will apply to a lot of different maps. So first of all, let's see. Let's turn that off, and let's turn that off. So I'm just going to fly around in the drone for a second as we talk about some of the obstacles that we go over when we're on attack for Seek and Destroy. Now, just don't mind these little rings right here. There's a little race course you can do in your drone. If you've never been in the training mode, that's what these are. You won't see these in game when you're doing ranked matches or whatever. So you can just ignore those. So, the first big obstacle that new players will point out is they'll say, just look at the map and look at the distance from the defender base to the objectives, and then look at the distance from the attacker base to the objectives, and look at how lopsided it is, right? So the map seems to be working against us there. So, and just so you know, this base over here, the blue base, where Striker's hanging out right now, that's where the attackers spawn, okay? Then they've got to run all the way over here to where these points are here, and that's what they're trying to destroy. And that, of course, is the defender base over there. So clearly, the attacker base is closer to the objectives. I would say it's probably like they probably have to cover 40% of the map, and the attackers maybe cover 60%, something like that. So you know, that's the first obstacle. Okay, is that the attackers just have to cover more of the map. They will get to the objectives after the defenders have already gotten there. So that is one of the first like standout things that players are like, man, this just seems really unfair. The second thing is the position of the actual resistors. So these are the resistors that you're trying to blow up. There's 2 of them, and the position of them also seems unfair to new players. Okay, and like look at this one here. Look at Alpha, for example, this A site. I mean, like when we're looking at it from the attacker side, you know, there's a wall here. This window cannot be broken or anything like that. So this thing is completely protected from this side. You can't shoot it with bullets from that side over there. Even circling around to the right side here, it's completely closed. This is a motion sensing door. It's staying closed right now because I'm just in a drone, but if I was an operative and I got to about here, then it would open up. But that means I can't sit like way back here and just shoot through into Alpha because that door will be closed. So I can only shoot it from here, and then, you know, the only other place to shoot it from is, you know, again, there's a sliding door here, a sliding door here, and a sliding door here. So again, you pretty much have to be right up here to shoot in there or something like that. But look, we're in the defenders' like backyard right here, right? Like they just run up here and they're right here. So like looking at this A site, I do not blame new players at all for being like, how the heck am I supposed to destroy Alpha, right? And then if we go and look at Bravo's obviously a bit more appealing because it's not completely enclosed with walls and sliding doors and things like that. It's a lot more open. I mean, you can already see some long sight lines coming in here where you can see the top of the resistor there, and even underneath in the tunnels down here, there are some longer sight lines where you can shoot at it from there. So this one is better, but still it's at least partially behind cover here. The lower half is behind cover. Once these armor plates get blown off, it becomes hard to shoot with inaccurate weapons like maybe a rocket launcher over long range. And again, the defenders will get here very quickly. It's super easy for a Vendetta to run, jump off of here, and place a flying turret right here within the first couple of moments of the game. And, and then from there she can just run around, place all kinds of turrets. And, if we look at the cover that the attackers have, it at first, it doesn't appear like much. Like, oh, maybe I can hide here, or I've got some, like, half cover. Maybe this is closer to a quarter cover, a third cover, but I've got some half cover here. I can shoot, from here a bit, but I don't have the best view, and also, like, people can shoot me down this hallway, so... Yeah, so that's the first obstacle that that people have, is the distance and the location of all the resistors. All right, the next big obstacle that we have to deal with is the actual objective itself. Okay, what do attackers have to do? Okay, they have to cover roughly 60% of the map. Okay, to run here to the bomb sites, and then they need to destroy the objectives. Okay, and then they have to. On top of all that, they need to kill defenders, right? Or else they're just going to get killed by defenders. So cover 60% of the map, destroy the sites, and kill defenders. And by the way, to destroy the resistors, it's 360 damage, all right, to destroy them. If you're not dealing any critical hits, so if you're not hitting the core, it's 24 toxin shots. Okay, it's 5 striker shots, 4 frags from Kapitan, or 4 rockets. Okay, and then for the full auto characters, it's a little it's a little bit different. And important to note is that AOE damage you cannot get a critical hit with AOE damage. So The critical hit, once you pop these bad boys open, there's like a glowing core on the inside. If you shoot it with a gun or a laser beam or something, you'll deal critical damage. But if you hit it with something that like a grenade or Deathblow's rocket launcher, those things deal splash damage, they deal AoE damage, and they will not score critical hit damage. Okay? So, as the attacker, this is a problem for us. We've got to cross 60% of the map. We got to deal 360 damage to 2 different targets, and we've got to kill defenders. Now, what do the defenders have to do? What do the defenders have to do? All they have to do is cross 40% of the map and kill attackers. Right? They don't have to destroy the objectives. So their list of objectives to accomplish is shorter, in a sense, and they don't have to cross as much of the map. So that seems like a big advantage to them. And then obviously the final obstacle, as you know with any game mode where you're attacking and you're going first, is that the defender has the big defender's advantage, which is that they get the final turn of the round, which you cannot respond to. So after you've played your 5th operative, they get to play their 5th, and you do not get to respond to whatever they do. So these are a lot of obstacles, and and I'm not trying to trash on new players that struggle with this stuff, because I had like something like 45 hours into the beta, and then even with all that time in the beta, once the Seek and Destroy game mode came out, which by the way there was no Seek and Destroy in the beta, once we got our hands on this, I struggled with it at first. I was definitely having some trouble with it. Okay. But those are the obstacles. Now let's go over the solutions and the way that we deal with those obstacles there. So the first issue, which is that the attacker base is very oftentimes like quite a bit farther away than the defender's base, is it is true, but really what we're talking about here is time versus time versus space. Okay, so what the hell does that mean? Okay, that sounds like some sort of physicist nonsense here. All right, the reason it's a problem why they are closer to the objectives is because it takes them less time to get there, right? And time is basically our most precious resource in this game. But if you guys have seen my my pre-launch briefing that I put out, and you listen to my strategic principles, principle number 3 is that health equals time, okay? And this is hugely important to us, okay? This is hugely important to us. Health equals time. What does that mean? Basically, it means your operative's health represents a cost in time to deal with that operative, okay? So yes, while you have to run farther to get here, and even that is a little bit debatable. I mean, it's certainly a farther distance, but you can use, as the attacker, you have more favorable jump pad positions, which you can use to cross the map in a faster way. But ignoring that for now, yes, you have to go farther, but your opponent has to kill your operative, whereas you don't necessarily have to kill their operative, right? Your mission is not to get kills. It's nice if you do, and you'll probably find it advantageous to do so, but your real mission is to destroy these resistors, okay? So they'll have to chew through, roughly 100 health, maybe 120 if it's Deathblow, maybe 80 if it's Rush. We'll just call it 100. The defenders have to chew through 100 health, and there's a time cost to deal with that, and that time cost is somewhat offset by your operative's health. Okay, so that's part of the reason. And if we think about this, okay, what did we say? We said a resistor has 360 health. Okay, so you've got to get here, and you've got to deal 360 health worth of damage to. Technically, one resistor will get you the win, okay? You'll get more points, and they consider that you've won the half if you destroy at least one resistor. Now, of course, I always recommend going for 2, trying to destroy both of them in most scenarios, but even 1 is a win. So you've got to get 360 damage dealt, but your opponent, the defenders, they have to, they have to kill all your operatives, assuming all your operatives destroy at least one objective each, one objective apiece, then they have to kill all your operatives, which is 500 health. Okay, so 360 versus 500. So you might say, okay, well, that's a wash because they had a 40%. They had 40% of the map to cover. We had 60%. So the fact that I've got to deal 360 damage and they've got to deal 500, like the amount of time to do these things kind of washes out. And you'd basically be correct. And that's kind of my point, which is why the distance from spawn to the objectives is not really a problem for us. Okay? It's not really a problem for us. And a big reason why it's not a problem for us is because if we actually study these maps, we will find a lot of ways that make it so we don't even have to cross. We don't have to cover 60% of the map. In fact, there's plenty of ways where you can cross maybe 10% of the map, maybe 25% of the map. You can be way over here, okay, and still killing the objective. So then, you know, if you were saying, oh, it's even when we had to deal 360, they had to deal 500, and everybody was trying to run here, well, now the defender's got to cross 70% of the map to kill your operatives, and now things start to move a lot better. So what do I mean? What do I mean by looking at the map, studying the map? How can that help us? Well, for example, we don't need to obviously touch these resistors to destroy them. We have guns. We have advanced technology we can use. So let me just give a couple of examples here.
No time to waste.
So actually, I will stick in the drone for a couple more moments here. So studying these objectives, we kind of did a cursory sort of glance at Alpha, and it seems very well defended, right? However, there are some things that we can learn by looking at this. First of all, a very important concept for us as an attacker in Seek and Destroy is going to be splash damage. Okay? We can kill resistors without ever seeing them and without ever having direct line of sight. Alpha is the best example of that, probably on any of the maps so far, because one of the best ways to kill it is by sending Deathblow rockets and hitting a rocket like right about here, and it'll deal splash damage to this, and it will destroy this objective. Okay, and I guess so we can throw Kapitan frags in here in this gap right here, and this gap is visible from lots of places. Right? We can shoot it from here. We can shoot it from cover down here. We can shoot it from way back here. So we no longer have to cross 60% of the map and get, you know, face to face with this objective. All of a sudden, now we can be way back here. We can be saving a lot of time by not crossing as much of the map to deal that damage. Okay? And also, there's another little spot that I'll show you, which you guys have maybe found already, right up here. Okay? So you can just see, this is, you know, it's not quite a pixel angle, but I would kind of call it a pixel angle, basically, which means it's like a 1 pixel wide spot. Obviously, this is more than a single pixel. But, you know, why do we care that you can see it from up here? Well, look at this. Look at this. Trying not to run into these rings. I don't want to start the race. You can jump off of here, run right through here, and look at this. You got this little path up here. You run up top. Boom. You can hit that with the Striker. You can hit that with the Kapitan. You can even hit it with a Deathblow, especially if you have a certain rocket skin equipped, which makes it more accurate. Okay? So now you can be shooting that, you know, from up here, from the rocks up here. And let me tell you, it's a real hassle for them to actually get someone up here to these rocks, especially if you're like kind of bunkered down, taking cover here, sniping through this little gap. Okay, so that's basically how you want to kill Alpha, in my opinion. At least that's one way you can do it. Now, there's other strategies where you can potentially like send Rush off of that jump pad there, shield him up, leap him in here, and just, you know, get in here as fast as possible. But it will be hard to beat the defenders just because they're coming from much closer, and they do have jump pads available on their side. So really, what I've seen the most on the ladder is that sort of angle. Not necessarily up there. I don't think I've seen anyone try to shoot from up there against me, though I have used it against opponents. But exploiting the splash damage here. Okay, so what does that mean? That means Deathblow and Kapitan become incredibly important in this game mode because they can do that. Okay, now this site here, because it's so much more open and exposed, it can be shot from long range. It's not really... We don't need to talk as much about, oh, where is the perfect angle to attack that from. You can imagine lots of places. There's places up here. You can quickly jump down from there to also shoot it from here. You can come through this tunnel, and you can do some jumping attacks to hit it from here, and, you know, whatever you want to do. So, okay. So, let's see. Let me take a look at my notes here. So, we've... studied the maps. We've figured out about the splash damage and how important that becomes in this game mode. How to damage objectives when we don't have line of sight. Line of sight is basically not needed to destroy these objectives with some operatives, okay, which makes those operatives that can deal damage that doesn't require line of sight, it makes them much more valuable in Seek and Destroy. Okay, so we're talking about Deathblow and Kapitan. They become a lot more valuable. If you didn't already consider them valuable, now you should in this game mode. And then covering fire, right? So covering fire is another one, which basically... Oh gosh, I started the race. Oh no. Let me just go out of there. Come back here. Okay. So covering fire is basically a... concept, and I don't mean having one operative shoot to cover the advance of another operative. Covering fire is perhaps the wrong word for this sort of principle, but basically what it means is, like, if I'm Deathblow and I'm sitting right here and I'm shooting at this objective, and I keep up like a high like rocket fire rate, it's dangerous for enemy operatives to like shoot at me and to come attack me through this route, because I'm basically filling this line of sight with damage. You know what I mean? Same thing if I was like a Kapitan, maybe, just shooting here. Well, there's actually too many different points of attack here. But, you know, I think you know what I mean. So if I'm like Vendetta and I'm like just popping out with shotguns and things, you can kind of cover your own operative by using those points. But that's kind of a it's kind of a minor thing. Okay, so we've studied the map. We have learned about lots of interesting angles. I mean, I guess like... And you can go all day with this, okay? I highly recommend spending some time especially if you're struggling with this game mode, spending some time studying the maps, finding out some interesting points. Like, for example, you can have a striker up here getting this very unique angle, boom, 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 shooting right down there into Bravo, okay? You can also run up this thing and jump off and place a beautiful flying turret with Vendetta right about here, which is awesome. And she can run up there, jump off, place a flying turret, and then jump in here and then immediately just start blasting this point, okay? So there's a lot of cool things that you can do like that when you study the map. The next, and I guess we can show even some more stuff here. So one thing you'll probably see in ladder, if you haven't seen it already, is the classic, I don't know if it's meta per se, but there's a very, very funny strategy where you jump up here with Kapitan, okay, and I'll just show you how to do it quick. And this is just one example of how to do this. Basically, you come up here, you bury your face into this thing that's sticking out here. You aim down sights, and then you sort of aim right about here on the rock. And notice that I'm lining my crosshair up with the top of the objective here, okay? So I'm aiming right about here, and I'm just going to throw a frag grenade, okay? And you can see that was a hit. You can see the objective's health is going down now. And it takes 4 grenades, and you can throw a 5th one, and then you can run up here and shoot that objective. Okay? So that's just one very quick example, and I'll just record a loop so we can like watch what this looks like a little bit. So yeah, so she sits there, and then these grenades just keep coming in, And I think those ones are a little bit shallow, but you can get direct hits on this base. And obviously, this is a great. It's a pretty strong position because look how far back. Like we were talking about all these costs of traversing the whole map, but look, we only had to go from there to there. We only had to go from there to there. We're not exposed to snipers or anything like that at all. And we're completely safe back here. So it's, we're really forcing them to come to us, okay? They either have to come back, they have to send an operative all the way back here, or they have to know, and so this is where, like, the 4D chess sort of comes into play, where, okay, if I learn the perfect Kapitan grenade arc to throw a grenade back at her and hit her, then that would be another, like, really strong thing to learn, right? Would be the arc to throw grenades back. So that's just one example. There's pretty much infinite positions where you can use this grenade throwing strat from. I've done it from back here. There's a spot where you can stand on the rocks and you aim sort of like up this way a bit, and you can hit it from all the way back here. But you can just adjust the arc, and pretty much anywhere you can, as long as you've got a clear sky above you, you could sit up here and just chuck grenades at it, right? So studying the map can yield a whole bunch of new strategies like that. I guess I'll just quickly show a couple more examples of some stuff that you can do. So that's like an example. You'll probably see that on ladder if you're playing this map. I've seen it a few times, and it's pretty funny and it's pretty strong to do, I'd say. And so, all right, so here's Deathblow, and we'll just run up here, and we'll just give an example of like what this can look like. As you can see, now we've covered more of the map than we had to with Kapitan, but that objective's destroyed. We didn't have to get anywhere close to it. All right. And these spots are pretty easy for us to get a KARL shield to quickly if we want to. Since we don't have to cross the whole map, this is not like the Retrieve XM mode, where getting there super quickly is very important, okay? We can pause and give ourselves time to shield ourselves with KARL. It's not really a race. You can do a race sort of strategy. You can shield up a rush or something and send him in deep and try to get there before the defender, but is that gonna work most of the time? Maybe not. The defender is usually gonna get there before you anyhow, so really it's not a race. It's more so about finding the best angles and forcing that sort of line of scrimmage, if you can imagine it, right? Forcing that line of scrimmage back a bit, okay? So really what this is about is it's about bringing this line of scrimmage back like towards our side to save us time. So we've got like Kapitan chucking nades over here like this. We've got Deathblow here who can shoot rockets in like that. Okay, we've got a striker position up on the rocks that can shoot in towards A as well. So just to be clear here, the different points we've got are we've got one objective in there. We've got another objective over here. So you can see like where this used to be, like where we had to get to, if you're a new player and you're thinking, oh, we've got to run all the way over there. But really, look how far we can sort of move it back. Like this point is our like farthest forward point, but it's also up on top of a mountain, okay? And the rest of this is, look, it's way back here, okay? So now, instead of the defenders only having to come like forward to here, which is like 40%, now they have to come all the way, this way, something like that. They've at least got to like start exposing themselves. So, for example, maybe it's like, okay, well, they'll just take a striker, they'll hop up on top of the roof, and they'll just shoot the Deathblow, okay? But guess what? Now they've brought themselves far enough forward that this striker can now be sniped, either from your striker up on the mountain or something like that. So that's basically, what we're trying to do is make the defender come to us. Let me just pull my notes up again, get back on track. I fear I've gone on a long tangent. Yeah, we'll just show the sniper up on top. Okay, so you can run up here, and it is a little it can be a little finicky, so you probably want to practice before running up here. It can be a little tricky to like climb the rocks and stuff. But yeah, you can see you can just literally hide right here, and that's actually the core. We're actually hitting the core right there, and then you just duck down and reload, and then pop up, reload it like that. And you can also, if you want, you can just switch targets at the end or whatever, and just hop down in here. So that's a few examples of some good angles and stuff like that. And there's tons of those. Okay, we haven't even found all of those. And the more you study the map, the more you play, the more you'll find. Every day I play, I find someone showing me, one of my opponents, like showing me a new spot, or I just, as I'm playing, I'm like, hey, this spot would actually kind of work, and I find a new location. Okay, so our next way that we can help deal with our attacking that we have to do is to use the full map, okay, to spread out. The part of it is making the enemies come to you, but most of it is making sure that one centrally located enemy cannot stop all of your operatives, okay? So if I've got a striker up on the mountain, and I've got a Deathblow who's like right under here, shooting up there, and I've got a Kapitan who stays way back in my base right here. They cannot stop them all with just one operative, okay? They can't do it. And also, part of making them come to you is that you can set up defenses, be that turrets or landmines or even like toxin poison. You can set up lots of defenses that then the attackers have to run through to get to you, which is very handy. The final thing that I want to say, and you'll see this demonstrated very well in the example match that I have at the end of this video, is that KARL shields just demolish the defender's advantage in this, particularly in this game mode. Okay, why is that? Well, it's because you can KARL shield several guys that the defender had dealt with previously, and then all those guys will now live, and now you've got, if you KARL on your 5th round, then your opponent has one turn to now stop 3 or 4 shielded people plus whatever your KARL did. Okay? You'll see a great example of that in the example match at the end of this video. But yeah, you really... KARL, in my opinion, is probably a must play in this objective. There are some scenarios where you don't need him, especially if your opponent isn't killing your guys for some reason, but I would pretty much always be playing KARL the last round. And why do you do him well, the reason you do it the last round instead of previous, the first round and then catch shields, is because what it does is it puts a lot more pressure on your opponent. The reason it does this is because when an enemy sees that, oh, okay, he shielded this guy, and he's got time to react to it. For example, let's say you play KARL first, and you do the strategy where you stare at a wall or whatever, and you just throw KARL shields into it for a while, and then you run off and do some KARL stuff with your laser. And then, your second turn, you take your operative, you stand in front of that wall, catch the shield, and then you go off and do stuff. Is that really fancy to do? Sure, it's very fancy. But your opponent, on their second turn, they're going to know, okay, this guy's shielded, and from the start, he's going to be dealing overkill damage enough to break the shield and then kill the operative inside, all right? And so you're banking on, at that point, you're banking on getting all your damage done before they break the shield and kill the operative inside, which is not something that I would want to bet money on, that I could kill the resistor before they kill my shielded operative. I would not. That's a much more risky investment, in my opinion. Okay? The better way to do it is save KARL until the very end, but as you're playing your operatives in the first 4 rounds, play them in such a way that they can be easily shielded by KARL on your 5th round. Okay? And so this is much better because what they'll do, like for example, let's say I ran Striker up here on the mountain and I'm shooting A from up here, okay? And so maybe they counter this by taking their Striker, going on top of that roof right there, and shooting me once with a headshot, okay? Now, if I was shielded, they would shoot me twice to break the shield, and then they would shoot me a third time to get the headshot, and I'd be dead, all right? And maybe I get some damage done before I die, but maybe I don't. Or maybe if I'm shielded, they're like, okay, well, I can't shoot through it with the Striker, so instead I'll send a Toxin up here to poison the top of the mountain, okay? But if you don't shield your Striker and they run up here, and then they use Striker, they fire one headshot, kill your Striker, and then that Striker goes on and does some other stuff. On that final round, if you shield your Striker, now he's alive. But you didn't just shield that Striker, you shielded the Striker, you shielded the Kapitan, and you shielded the Deathblow, and then as KARL on your 5th round, you ran and did some damage. Now, all of a sudden, they're in big trouble, okay? They're in big trouble. The only way in that situation they could deal with it would be to recognize, okay, the attacker hasn't played their KARL yet, so I see his sniper up there. So instead of just shooting him once in the head, I'll shoot him once in the head, just in case he never KARL shields that sniper. I'll shoot him again with a body shot quickly to break the shield, which is, it takes 2 sniper shots to break the shield if that Striker gets shielded. And then I'll shoot him a third time with a headshot. Okay? So what it forces your opponent to do, first of all, they have to think about that kind of stuff. And if they don't, you can shield and you get a big payout for them not thinking about it. If they do think about it and they try to deal with it by doing what I just said, taking 3 shots instead of just 1, well, now they've bought, first of all, you've forced them to spend a whole lot of extra time, right? You've forced them to take 3 shots. And the beautiful thing is, it's then up to you. You can look and you can see, okay, by the time he lands his 3rd shot, is the 3rd shot a headshot? If it's not a headshot, then I can KARL shield him and he'll live. If it is a headshot, then I can take a look and be like, okay, by the time he fires the 3rd headshot, has he done enough damage to warrant me trying to shield him? And if he has, I can shield him. If he has, I can shield him. And if he hasn't, then I can just very simply be like, well, you know what? I got him to waste 3 sniper shots on that guy, and I just won't shield him. And he lost time and I didn't. Okay? So that's why KARL at the end is just way stronger than KARL right away. I don't really care too much about what you have to say. I mean, I know there are some strategies where, for example, your first round you catch a shield with 1 operative, but then in the next round you catch that shield with a different operative. That can be a way to trick your opponents into dealing a lot of overkill damage that ends up being not necessary. Like, basically what you do is you're like sharing KARL shields. So like, you do KARL shield, you shield the wall once, let's say. Your next turn you pick Rush. You stand in there, you catch the shield, you run around, you be super hard to hit, super evasive, trying to kill the objectives, okay? So then they spend a whole operative chasing your Rush wildly around the map, trying to kill him. And maybe they mess it up. Maybe they don't get it done in the first round because your Rush is so evasive. So it takes them a second operative to do that. And then what you do is you can go and stand in front of that shield with a different operative, and you can be like, you know what? They've now spent 2 operatives to chase around my elusive shielded Rush and kill him. So now I'm going to just catch that shield with someone else and use that again. Okay. So if you're doing that, then sure. I think shield sharing with KARL does warrant playing KARL early. But unless you're doing that strategy, and I do not see people doing that strategy. I've not seen that yet. I think that is part of the meta that will evolve soon. I think it should evolve soon because I think that's a very powerful strategy. I've not really seen anyone doing that. I think I saw someone do it on accident once, but I have not seen anyone doing that. So unless you're doing it that way, then I really believe KARL final round is going to just be way more impactful. It's going to make your opponent crunch a lot more numbers, waste a lot of time that they shouldn't have wasted. It's just very strong, okay? And again, you'll see an example of that later. Oh my goodness, okay. So now we are done with the solutions part of that. So now we'll move on to some tips and tricks for you. I've got 10 tips and tricks I want to share. Just little quick things that should hopefully help your seek and destroy game. So, tip number 1 is really just me reiterating, study the maps, practice the maps, okay? This doesn't mean you've got to spend a whole hour staring at a map. It just means that you should think more critically about all the angles on the map, right? This is not a traditional first-person shooter where, the only thing a map is good for is, like, taking cover behind a thing while you shoot at an enemy, right? No, sight lines and all those types of things, the jump pad positions are much more important in this game. And you know what? If you don't like studying, hey, I don't blame you, okay? I'm not a huge fan of studying certain topics myself. At least do this. Go to each of these maps that you're having trouble with, go there in the training mode, and gather all the collectibles, okay? There's 20 little, like, floating collectible things you can run around and capture. If you capture them all, you'll actually earn some hex coins, so you can buy some skins, or you can buy some weapon variants and stuff. So there's actually a reason why you should go and play all the maps in the training mode, even if you're not trying to study them. But just do that. And if you do that, if you get all of the collectibles, some of the collectibles are hidden in interesting spots that will actually sort of show you some of the useful spots. Okay, that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, you can set loadouts for seek and destroy. So for example, here's my Deathblow. This is the, I believe it's the deep space, let me take a look at the weapon here. Oh, this is the Earth Defense. So this is the Earth Defense Eradicator rocket launcher for Deathblow. It is on the Cosmic, it's on the Cosmetic track, I believe, or is it on the Astral one? It's not on the main one, right? So when you're looking at their hex grid, it's not on the big main grid for Deathblow. You switch the tab to the next grid on the top, go to that one. This, I believe, is the first rocket launcher weapon variant on that grid, okay? So you don't need to get mastery level 1 billion to unlock this launcher. I think it's like you can probably get it with like a single hex coin. Maybe it's 2 hex coins over. I don't really remember. So this one is a pretty good one for seek and destroy if you're having trouble with seek and destroy. Why is that? It's because now it does only have a 3-round mag, as you can see in the bottom right corner, but the accuracy of this thing is absolutely nutty, okay? It's absolutely insane. For example, did we restart the map? Yeah, we did. So for example, you can stand up here with Deathblow and, oh, I want to kill Bravo from way back here. You just put this little crosshair on it. It's extremely accurate. And look, none of these rockets are missing either. They're all... Okay, actually, damn it. Okay. Those 2 both missed. But that's because, like, the reticle on this thing is perfect. You literally just put the reticle exactly where you want it, and it'll sneak past. Okay? It'll sneak past the wall. It'll actually destroy it. So I was being a little too generous with giving space to the walls there. But if I had actually put the reticle right on the thing, those first 2 shots would have hit. So this one is, it's potentially a good option for you, right? Because you might want to keep Deathblow, back pretty far to blow up these objectives, okay? So, now, I'm not saying that, like, oh, you need to tailor all of your operatives' weapons towards seek and destroy. I'm just saying, if you're having a lot of trouble with seek and destroy, you might consider choosing some of the weapon option or weapon variants that help you out a little bit with seek and destroy. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so tip number 3. Overload one side to increase your KARL targets. What does this mean? This means that, KARL, he's a great operative. Like I've mentioned, I think he's one of the strongest round 5 operatives that there is. And I will fight you over that, I think. But he can't be everywhere at once. So if you split all your operatives up and one takes that little rock path and goes on top of the mountain, and one runs off of here and gets up like behind the rocks over here, if everybody splits up immediately and goes to different objectives, KARL can't shield everyone. Okay? But one thing you can do is while maintaining your spacing so you don't all die to a single Deathblow rocket like I may have done the other night when I was live streaming, you can overload one side, so it basically means all your operatives are somewhat close together, so that way your KARL can shield one immediately out of the gate, and then he can just kind of run along, like tag along behind the team as they're running forward, and he can slap one or two, he can potentially shield like 3 operatives while they're running towards objectives and things, okay? So, you can overload one side, and what that allows you to do is KARL shield more targets. And when I say overload, I don't mean only target one objective. I mean temporarily only sort of move towards one side, and then you can diversify after that. Yeah, okay. Next one is overkill damage versus switching targets. So when should you just stay there and keep doing overkill damage to an objective you've destroyed versus when should you switch targets, okay? I would say for Deathblow, unless you have a vantage point where you can shoot both targets from the same spot with Deathblow, I would say never switch targets with Deathblow. He is too slow. This is something you'll just have to get the feel for as you play more. But in general, with Deathblow, I would stay the same. And for the rest of them, for like Vendetta, things like that, I would say always try to switch targets. If you can have one operative that, if they were left alone, destroys 2 objectives, that's really strong. That's great. It makes the damage mitigation calculations very hard for your opponent, okay? Because they have to keep track of, for example, if they've got situations where not all your operatives are dead, and like they've got 2 partially destroyed things, and then you send in another operative and now they're all destroyed, it makes it very hard for them to calculate, okay, how many like KARL shields do I have to place here? And do I need to kill this operative, or can I let them live? How much damage do they deal? All that math, all those calculations just get much harder when you've got operatives that, if left alone, will kill both objectives. Okay? All right. The other thing, the next tip, is you always want to kill at least one objective with each operative, okay? Even like for me, when I'm playing Vendetta on things like this, and I'm, trying to place a bunch of turrets and stuff, I always get in there and try to kill at least one objective, if not 2, right? It's usually, if you're up close with a shotgun, it's 3 shotgun shots if you're also hitting the core to kill one resistor. So you don't even have to reload, okay? You fire 3 shots, you run over to the other one, you fire another 3 shots. So always try to kill at least one objective with every operative. I mean, it should be obvious, but sometimes I see people on attack who, like, for example, they'll play Vendetta. That's probably the biggest culprit of this. They'll play Vendetta, and they'll just place 5 turrets, and they won't go and kill an objective. Placing 5 turrets is great, but that's not how you win, all right? We need to focus the objectives big time. Attack from multiple angles is the next tip, and this is for a couple reasons. The main reason, though, is if they're trying to it limits their KARL shield options, okay? One of the most common plays you'll see, at least that I've seen on Ranked Ladder, is they'll bring out KARL 5th round, and if you're not dealing enough damage to an objective, they will just throw KARL shields in front of it to protect it, all right? And that's strong for them, and that's great for them, but if you're attacking that objective from multiple angles, it makes it more difficult for them. It gives them fewer options for where they want to KARL shield. They pretty much have to KARL shield directly onto the point, okay? They can't, for example, throw a KARL shield in front of the objective if you've got another operative shooting it from behind. So it limits that. Attack from multiple angles. It also just helps with your operatives being harder for the opponent to deal with. Number 7, tip number 7, is to use the resistors as cover. This is especially good for Rush because he's so weak with health. You can basically sprint into the objective room, hide behind the resistor, and blast from there. For example, on this A site here, if this resistor was still intact, you can imagine a crouching Rush just sitting behind here mowing this thing down. He can really only be killed here from this very narrow angle here, which is going to just force your opponents to move to certain parts of the map, which is always good. You're controlling them instead of them controlling you. Vendetta can also do this pretty well because she's getting so close with her shotgun. Tip number 8 is kind of related to that. While you're using the resistor as cover, you want to get up close, okay? And the reason for this is KARL shields. If they KARL shield this objective, I want to be able to bypass the shield. And the reason for this is if they KARL shield this objective and I'm up close to it, I will be within the radius of that shield, which means the shield will not block my shots. And I will just be hitting the resistor directly, okay? This is good for Rush especially. It's also good for Vendetta. That's probably about it, just those two. But it's something to keep in mind. I mean, you should also keep that in mind when you're shooting enemies. If you think that they will KARL shield them later, you want to get within the shield if you're a close-range operative. Even Toxin. I mean, don't use a Toxin to attack objectives, though. But, yeah. She does it, like I said earlier, it takes her 24 shots to kill an objective. Her shots cannot break the armor. Toxin shots, fun fact, cannot break the armor on a resistor. Even if you can destroy the resistor with 24 Toxin shots, which is roughly 2 full magazines, but even if you hit it and destroy it, none of the armor plates will be destroyed until the thing finally blows up at the end. Okay, tip number 9 is our 6th strategic principle, which is to use Stagger Pathing. Okay, and I was reminded of this the other day because I had forgotten my my holy tenets, my principles. Basically, your whole plan can get ruined if one operative can kill one enemy operative. That is, can kill many of your operatives. All right. So the reason for that, it should be obvious, right? We want to spread out. We want to make it so it takes a new operative from them every round to deal with what we just did.
Watch me. Who's up for more?
Tip number 10 is that you want to set yourself up for KARL shields, okay? So there's a couple different ways you can do this, and I don't think a good solution is just saying get good with KARL shields. There are things you can do to make it easier. First of all, you can have one of your operatives pause in the beginning and just straight up just stand still for a couple moments, and that will just make you a dead easy KARL shield target right off the get-go. Okay. The next thing you can do is if you are behind safe cover, for example, maybe while you're in this tunnel, just run straight. Okay. Run straight in a line. Try not to do too many of the little slidey jumps and stuff like that. Once you get close, of course, you'll want to start sliding and jumping and things to become more evasive. But give your KARL a break, all right? Let him... give him a nice, easy, juicy shield target by running in a straight line, staying standing. It will pay you. It will pay dividends. Okay. One thing is that if you pause in the beginning, it's still good, and I do that quite often to catch the KARL shield. But you telegraph to your opponent, okay, this operative might be shielded in the future, but they will pick up on that a bit less. If you're sprinting, if they just see you sprinting in the beginning, they'll be like, oh, okay, like he didn't wait for a KARL shield, so there's probably no shield coming. All right, now granted, as the meta evolves, people will begin to recognize when operatives are sprinting in a straight line and not sliding. They'll recognize that as a suspiciously easy to KARL shield path that you're taking. So, you know, that might not work as well. But, for example, while KARL is shielding that operative that you had standing still, while he's doing that, you could take a dive in the beginning and then run straight after that, right? So you just kind of want to time out, okay, who's KARL going to shield and when are they going to do it? And part of this is also like, one thing I do on this map sometimes is I'll try to rush my Deathblow right into here to rocket this, okay? Because it's pretty good cover. In order for them to deal with me, they really have to you know, to expose themselves somehow here. And so, if you know where you're going to be, try and stay in that spot. So that way, KARL can just chuck a shield over here, and then you'll be running inside it and using that shield.
Reload.
Okay, and you know what? We've got a bonus tip. Tip number 11 is just learn from your opponents, okay? If you get beat from somebody, don't, you know, don't just be upset that you lost or that your strategy didn't work. Just really take a close look at what did they do that beat you? What strategy did they use? And you can just use that strategy right back against them, okay? Especially if they're attacking first. You can oftentimes, like, just use their own strategy against them, which is pretty funny. I mean, that's how I learn a lot of the little things that I do. It's not that I'm, you know, thinking of all this stuff on my own necessarily. It's that I play a lot of matches, and I play against some good players, and I learn from them, right? So, learn from that. If you've made it to this point in the video, stick around, because we're about to show off that example match, which really exemplifies a lot of the points that we've been talking about. Also, leave a comment down below and let me know what you found to be the most useful part of the video so far. Is there anything that you hadn't thought of, or maybe I had explained it a different way? I want to know what you guys are finding helpful and stuff like that. Okay, so we're about to get into the match, the example match. This is a match I played live on Twitch 2 nights ago, so it's going to have live commentary over it. By the way, if you like live commentary more than pre-recorded stuff, you should go find me on Twitch. There's a link down below in the description, and yeah, that's actually part of what made me decide to make this video, was people asking me questions there, and also a lot of my opponents that I've been playing against, some of them have been struggling on attack. So yeah, that's why I made a video like this, was from Twitch. Now, what we're going to be showing you is a ranked match between me and someone called JT. So JT watches my stream, and I've run into him a few times on the ladder. He's a good player. And we're both in gold rank. We're almost identical rank in this video. You might, I don't know if you'll see the ranks or not, but I think we're both, I think he might be gold 2, I might be gold 3, something like that. And this match is not the full match. I cut out the first half. The first half was interesting, but since this video is all about attack, I just wanted to show you attack. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the match. Alright, so here's a recap of the scoreboard from the first half. This is going to be a combination of audio from live when I was streaming it, as well as my commentary now. Kapitan, my way to fame. So, going Kapitan first, and yeah, I was just going to kind of meme a little bit and show off that, that grenade spot that I was talking about from before. And keep in mind, you guys can like practice on the maps. You can find all kinds of grenade spots. You don't necessarily have to stand in this particular spot. This is just one example. Okay, that's all the grenades, and now we run up. So you can see my grenades actually were a lot more on target. The first one still missed somehow. But if there was a shield there, it might have hit it. But you can see these next grenades are on target. They're hitting it directly, which means they're doing bonus damage because they're hitting the core. That's false. I lied right there. And you can see they're right on target. When he did this strategy last half, okay, yeah, the cheese. The cheese is OP, okay? And he's going Vendetta, same thing I did. The only difference is he flew over that explosive barrel. He's, I don't know, he's putting his back to me, putting a turret over here. Ultimately, none of this is... Oh, he almost caught a grenade to the face. Maybe he was trying to do that. That'd be pretty smart, try and catch a grenade. Unless he wants to dive my back line. Okay, so now I'm going Vendetta. I didn't want to play my Deathblow too early, because you know, Kapitan and Deathblow are your two non-direct, non-line-of-sight damage dealers. So I didn't want to play them both so early. So I'm picking Vendetta, and I'm using her to sort of help defend the Kapitan, who's obviously got a very strong play. And then I rush in and destroy one objective. So we're placing some turrets for defense. Because obviously we have a very strong Kapitan play going on here, so we want to make sure no funny business happens back here. We want to keep him out. He's not welcome. These drones are you are not welcome signs. That's what they are. And then, you know, whatever. We get a couple random turrets in here. We get in. All right, here he comes. He's going Deathblow. Okay, so he's probably going to mine the Vendetta. He's going to mine out the Vendetta. Yep, there's one there. There's another one. I guess that's all he's throwing there. Did he... Oh, he just hits her with a rocket. All right, doesn't even need the mines. That's fair. And he's got plenty of mines up here. Let's try and see if we can see exactly where he throws all the mines. We know he puts 2. 1, 2, 3. Kills the Vendetta. 4. Okay, so he throws 4 mines. All right. We know where they're all at. They're up close in there. That's fine. So we're gonna do a little something funny here. So here I decided to take the striker and climb up a little mountain over here. I mess up a couple of little rock jumps, but honestly they're pretty hard to get right. Then I run up here, take some shots at Alpha. Before, I misspoke there. The grenades do not deal bonus damage to the core if they hit the core directly, so just ignore that. There we go. So I got caught on the rocks a little bit. If you jump a little bit better, you can avoid the first rocks. But no matter what, it's always a real pain in the ass to run up these rocks. I honestly wish it wasn't. I wish they made climbing up ledges a bit easier in this game. Okay. He can only shield one or the other. So here comes his Toxin. He's finally going to try... He's going to try and Toxin my Sniper up top. And he's going to try to... Yep, so that's pretty good. And he's going to probably try to poison my Kapitan down there. Yeah. So oddly, he didn't try to get up close and poison the Kapitan while she was still throwing grenades, which probably would have been a good move. Because by the time she gets to where he put that poison on the bridge, it's a little too late. You'll also notice there, I paused for just a moment before I started running forward with Deathblow, and that was to line it up for a KARL shield for the 5th round. And I was saving the Deathblow until the 4th round, just again because I knew he was going to be one of my big damage dealers. Now that his Toxin's gone, he can't simply Toxin me there. He's going to have to do something else. Sniper. He's going for his Sniper now. Going to try and snipe my Deathblow, I guess. Okay, that was solid. Is he going to do overkill damage? He shot him twice. Okay, he is doing overkill damage. Okay. He's doing lots of overkill damage. He wants the Deathblow dead. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking. I pick KARL, alright? I shield the Deathblow. I come up here. I shield the Kapitan. I think the Sniper's dead. I don't think I can save him. So, shield Deathblow, shield Kapitan. Then I go this way. I try to throw another shield right in the corner over there. Then I kill the Sniper. And then I potentially run up here and do what damage I can to A. Let's just see where my Deathblow stands. So my Deathblow stands right over here. Alright, so here I go with the KARL, and yeah, we're going to just make sure that a lot of these operatives live.
Armed, fire.
Now that throw was actually pretty lucky. It wasn't really intended to land on Deathblow, that was just kind of a bonus. But even if it had missed him, it would have just landed in the corner and it still would be protecting him right now. But I got lucky and it actually managed to land it on him. Okay, I think that was a strong final play. I had a moment of hesitation here because I was like, maybe I can shield Striker when he's on the rocks, and I was like, nah, it doesn't matter.
Nice catch.
Wow, that other shield actually landed right on him. That was very nice. I decided not to switch targets and go to Bravo because I want to force him to choose, right? If he's going to Karl right now, he's either going to have to sit on Bravo for almost the entire time to protect from those grenades. Keep in mind, right now, Bravo is always dying to the grenades. Okay? So, and I've got turrets back there protecting her, so he can't rush back there very easily. And with Karl, how are you going to stop all this, right? How are you going to shield Bravo and shield Alpha and kill the Karl over here and kill the Deathblow? Here he goes. He's going Karl. Okay, he gets one shield on Bravo. He shields his Toxin. Don't know why. He's trying to shield Alpha. He's going down to kill the Deathblow, but Karl's coming from behind. Karl kills Alpha. And Bravo dies as well. Perfect. Perfect. We'll just watch one more time. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think there's any way he could have done this. That's no... I don't mean any offense or anything. Just like, there was just too much. I think too much pressure being applied. Like, and he's getting shot at by turrets and things, which doesn't do a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it's very distracting when you're trying to actually play as that. So that actually worked very, very well. That worked very, very well. I went wide on the map. I sent my sniper way up top up here. And the sniper didn't end up getting many... I don't even know if he got any shots off, but he still forced out the Toxin to go way up there and spend a lot of time up there. Alright guys, so here's the final scoreboard for you guys to take a look at. Of course, you guys didn't get to see the first half, but you can at least look at the stats for the second half. Did pretty well. And if you've made it to this point in the video, you are a freaking trooper, okay? Congrats. You have passed the class. That is the end of my lecture on how to attack for Seek and Destroy, specifically on Caldera. Now, this was just on Caldera. If you'd like to see more of these types of videos, please let me know down in the comments down below. I mean, that's the main reason I made this video is because from streaming on Twitch, people were asking questions, and YouTube, people were asking questions, and I also saw in the Discord, people were claiming it was kind of hard to attack. Who knows? Maybe eventually here I'll have to make a video how to defend, because maybe people will start finding it way too easy to attack. You know, I don't know. We'll see. It's early days yet as far as the meta is concerned. My name's Ross. If you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. It takes me a long time to actually make these videos. It might not seem like it, but it actually does. So I really appreciate any support you guys give me. If you prefer live commentary instead of pre-recorded stuff like this, you can also look for me on Twitch. There's a link down in the description. I'm going to start streaming more Lemnis Gate on Twitch. If you love Lemnis Gate and you want to watch more Lemnis Gate videos, you can check out my YouTube channel. I've got a bunch of matches already posted. I've got another strategy video called the pre-launch briefing, so make sure to check that out if you haven't seen it yet. That's all I've got for now. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the future.